How's it going, Blamers? And welcome back to Blame It on Mel. Before we start, I just want to be clear. This isn't just a casual faith transition story. It's about self-blame, grief, betrayal, and rebuilding after doing everything that you were taught would make you feel safe and worthy. My guest today is Braadyn. She's a creator, photographer, wife, mother, and survivor of religious conditioning, self-harm, and suicidal ideation. She didn't just half-ass this whole Mormon faith thing. She wanted it, she believed it, and she did everything that she was asked. This conversation is an attack on belief. It's about consent, autonomy, and what happens when your body knows that something isn't right before your mind is actually allowed to question it. If this feels familiar, remember that you're not broken. If it feels uncomfortable, please stay with us. Braadyn, I'm really glad that you're here with us.
I'm really happy to be here.
Thanks for sharing your story. I think that it's going to help so many people.
I hope so. I think that's like the whole reason I share is because I want it to help others and teach others that, this is normal, a normal side of religious upbringing.
Yeah. How long have you been like a creator?
Like on Instagram?
Yeah, like you, yeah.
I mean, I've been on Instagram since it started, but
Yeah.
I just
Yeah. But just started like kind of putting everything out there.
Yeah, I posted about leaving the church in I believe 2022 or 2023 is when I first shared that I had left. And after that, I was kind of just sharing just like little things here and there about the church. And it was actually when I posted about meeting with the missionaries or having them come and talk to me, that post went pretty viral. I don't know what really defines viral these days, but it's at like 5.8 million views. So I feel like that's decently viral.
That is viral. Yes. I don't have any that do that, not a single one. So that is viral. Yes.
Well, it was the first one that has ever gone off like that. And I was like pegged as the nice ex-Mormon after that. And so I continued to share my story on Instagram because I felt like it was resonating with both members of the church and ex-members. And I realized that there was like this bridge that could be built between the two of us, just based on kindness and understanding and respect towards other people's religions. Because I don't talk about like doctrinal stuff on my Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't want to share what I've learned about Joseph Smith or the plates or whatever it may be, because I do have family that still believes, and I never want to come across as like being disrespectful to something that they hold so close to their heart. So, yeah.
And you're
I've been trying.
sharing your story. You're not necessarily
Yes.
sharing, that what everyone else believes is also okay. And it seems like that's kind of what you had with your conversation with the missionaries too, right? Was that like
Yeah.
you believe something different and I believe something different, but that doesn't mean that we can't all be friends. We can't
Yes.
all share kindness.
Yes. And I think that's something that's so important to learn in this day and age, especially with everything from politics to differences of how we raise our children. Like, I just think it needs to be respected, especially when it's not something that's directly affecting someone else. Like, you can live your life and do what you need to do. And if it's not affecting me, then I'm going to be happy for you. Like, I just feel like that is an important mindset to kind of grasp these
Yeah.
days.
And just because something didn't work for me doesn't mean that it's not going to work for you.
Totally. Totally. I mean, everyone is we're all such different people with different likes and dislikes. And I think it's important to remember that and not be offended or upset when someone chooses something else. Like, to me, it's as simple as like, I don't like chocolate, but you like chocolate. Cool. That's great. I feel like that's
Yeah.
how it should kind of be seen.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. So you were raised in the church. Both your parents were active, right?
Yep, they're still active. Very
Still
active.
active. And you are what is your birth order?
I'm the oldest of six.
Oldest of six.
Yeah.
Okay. And everybody's was raised in the church.
Yeah.
And how many out of those 6 are inactive?
Um, I would say 3 of us are inactive and 3 are still very much in.
Okay. And then you married a convert, right?
Yeah.
So, how was that as far as your family accepting that? Was that okay, or were they worried?
They were definitely worried. Well, so I kind of talked to you about this a little while ago, but I dated a guy all through high school, and my family loved him. Loved him. He was a great guy. And so when I brought my now husband around, my family was like, "Who is this dude? Like, get him out of here. He is not your missionary," because he was on a mission at the time that I met my husband. And so my family really struggled with it, actually. And he definitely, like, after he got baptized, he still had piercings. He had, I feel like 5 piercings. He had gauges on his bottom ears. He had a nose ring. He, like, stuck his hair up spiky. Like, he looked like a punk. So my family was very concerned.
So,
Yeah,
but ever since you were a little girl, it was kind of non-negotiable for you as far as even marrying somebody that was a non-member, right?
totally.
So, even though your husband had been baptized, this was still something that was not 100% kind of in your childhood dreams.
Yep, 100% not. I honestly, the first time I met him, he kind of scared me because I had never really been around a guy or anyone that looked like him or like had the past that he had. And I remember being like nervous around him.
So, what made you nervous?
He looked like a punk. I don't know how else to say that. He just didn't he was not like any of the guys I'd ever really hung out with or been around or dated, especially within the church. Like, you're told to look a certain way and be very well groomed, and he took care of himself, but he looked like a punk with all the piercings and the spiked up hair and everything. It was just like, oh, he's edgy.
Yeah. So, did he go to church with all of these piercings?
Yeah, he would go to church with them, and then after he got baptized, he still had them in. I was actually the one that talked him out of them. Like, I was like, you should take those out. It was when we had started dating. I was like, you really should take those out so that you can represent the church more, which is hilarious. I'm like,
He rubbed off on you.
he did.
So, as a child, you dreamed of all of the things that children dream of that are Mormon, right? Like, you dream of finding a return missionary, you dream of getting married in the temple.
Yep.
What else? Like, what other dreams did you have?
Kids. I feel like it was literally that was it. I mean, I actually had decided at a pretty young age that I was going to do hair. I don't do hair. But I was like, I'm going to do hairstyling because that's a job that I can do in my home and still be a mom. Like, everything was centered around me getting married and being a mom. I didn't really, actually, one of my biggest dreams as a kid was to be in the FBI. That was like,
Really?
yeah, I really, really wanted to be in the FBI, but I knew it was not a motherly job and it wasn't like something that I should pursue. So I never did. And it really like makes me sad to this day because I think I would have been a badass agent.
No, you 100% would. That's awesome. You're the friend that I need to call, like, when I'm like, okay, listen, here's a name. I need you to find out every single thing about them and are they safe? And
I could do
you,
it.
you could
I'd
do
do
it.
it.
You're that friend. Yes, I love that. So, what do you think that is as a kid, as far as like programming within the church? What do you think it is that made you feel like being a FBI agent was not possible? Being anything other than a mom, getting married in the temple, all of those things that are laid out by the church. How? how did that happen as a child?
I mean, I feel like just every lesson that we're taught, every song that we sing, I mean, even the things that are hung up on our wall, the family of proclamation, like everything is taught so that that's all you really feel like you can be. You don't really feel like you have more options. At least I didn't. I definitely felt like my life was pretty planned out for me in that way. Like it was like a checklist of just like you get baptized, you get married in the temple, you have kids. Like, I don't know. I just
Yeah.
never really felt like I had any other options.
So, as far as the family proclamation, because a lot of listeners are not Mormon, so they don't really know what that is. So, can you explain what that is?
It's basically like I think the church presidency came out with it and wrote like this whole thing about what a family is, what it should be, how a dad is in the family, how a mom is in the family, the way the kids should respect their parents. Like it was basically just an outline of the perfect family.
Kind of like what you're supposed to do and how the church structures a family in order for you to be able to return back to Heavenly Father, kind of like,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like like I would
It's kind
say
of,
it was close to like a commandment, but it wasn't.
yeah. I was always kind of under the assumption that it was basically a commandment that came from a
Profit.
prophet.
Yeah.
And so the prophet speaks for God. And so therefore this is current scripture, right? Like,
And I mean, that's how it's taught. Like, whatever the prophet
yeah.
says is what God is saying. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely saw it as something that was like non negotiable. Like,
Yeah.
this is what it is. This is how a family is, period. The end.
Exactly. So basically, a marriage is between a man and a woman,
Yep.
and it does not say anything in there that you are allowed to have gay marriages of any kind. So a marriage is between a man and a woman, and the mother's place is in the home, nurturing her children,
Yep.
and for the men that their job is to provide for the home. So
Yep.
it was always my understanding is that like women needed to sacrifice whatever careers that they had, and they needed to stay at home and be with their children, raise their family, be a homemaker, and the husband was the one that needed to go to work, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
And I think that's why I really like leaned on a career that I could do at home
Yeah.
because it was like, oh, I can still, make some money and help out my family. But
Looking back now, does it feel like your worth was pre-assigned to like a certain outcome?
yeah, I mean, I feel like that was just, I didn't really have any other belief of what my life could be other than a wife and a mother.
So, do you feel as though if you would have followed your dreams to become an FBI agent, that your worth would have been less?
Yeah, I feel like if I had still been a member of the church and if I had a career over being a wife and a mother, then yeah, definitely, I think my worth would have been a lot less.
Do you
I
think
would have
that
been,
that would have been something that was self proclaimed, or do you feel as though that would have been something that was kind of projected onto you from others, like from family members, from community, from other people within church?
yeah, I would have definitely felt very judged and like I wasn't doing what God wanted me to do if I was pursuing a career over motherhood.
Okay, so as far as mental health, you didn't really know what it was when you were younger. So how did you start recognizing that something wasn't right?
Oh, I really young. Like I had to have been maybe 5 or 6, 7. Like I just remember constantly feeling like I wasn't good enough. I wasn't doing enough. I would never and it often happened after some type of church teaching where I felt like I was a sinner or I wasn't going to make it to the celestial kingdom. Any talk about eternity really freaked me out because I just didn't feel like I had the capacity or the belief in myself that I could make it to that. I don't know, like just I just never felt like I could be enough for what was required of me. I would say I self-harmed at a very, very young age because I didn't really understand or know how to like handle those emotions. I wasn't really given like a guideline of how to go through that anxiety and that fear and that shame. And so I think it was easier to put the pain on the outside instead of feeling it on the inside.
So it was mostly the self-harm. Is it a distraction then?
Yeah, I would say it was like a way of feeling something that was more real, something that was like more tangible than something on the inside. Like it kind of distracted from the inside because it was something on the outside that I could kind of control. I felt like I had control over that pain and I didn't have any control over the pain I was feeling inside of me.
So what types of things did you feel like you were not good enough for? Was it mostly just church things?
Oh yeah. I just felt like I was never being a good enough member of the church. I wasn't reading my scriptures enough. I wasn't praying in the right ways. I mean, those are like little kid things, right? I didn't want to go to church and so that was bad. It was a bad thing even I mean, as a kid it was super boring. Like I just didn't want to go cuz it didn't really like to sit there for 3 hours and be quiet. But yeah, I just felt a lot of guilt for not being like a good member of the church because every Sunday you're taught all these things of like what makes a good member and how to be Christ-like and how to be more like Jesus or whatever it may be. And I just felt like I can't add up to that. I can't become that. That's just not possible for me.
I just can't even imagine how painful that was.
Yeah, I think it's something that now as an adult, it breaks my heart because I would never want my own child to feel that way, to like think that they're just not good enough simply by just being a kid. Like kids are meant to be imperfect and messy and experience things and make mistakes. Like that's the time of our lives that we should be doing those things and not having eternal consequences be the fear that's behind us telling us that we need to do better. It breaks my heart for little me because I had way too much pressure on my shoulders for that stage of my life. I feel like it really set a precedence for myself for the rest of my life that I just felt like I could never be enough.
Yeah, that is a lot. So, what did you do as far as self-harm? Did you start with things like, I don't know, I've heard people that have started with rubber bands, even just starting that. And
Yeah, I
then,
did do that actually. I would
okay.
like snap them.
Yeah. Is that the
Yeah.
first thing that you did, or do you remember the first thing that you did as far as self-harm?
The first thing that I very like distinctly remember is getting I had like gymnastics trophies and trophies like have the hard marble bottoms and I would like hit myself with it. That's like the first thing that I very distinctly remember doing.
And what was the feeling after you hit yourself?
Honestly, I've never even considered that before, but I think for me it was like I deserved the punishment. Like it was when I had done something wrong or gotten in trouble. And so I think it was almost like I felt like I was making up for it by hurting myself.
Did you ever picture Jesus when you did that?
No. Most of the time I just pictured Satan. Like I thought Satan had a hold on me.
Yeah. No, I just wonder that because sometimes like, because Jesus suffered so much, right? With
Yeah.
the crown of thorns and all of those things. Like, were you feeling like you needed to suffer as
Like Jesus.
Jesus did? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe some part of my childhood brain was doing it for that reason. I can't remember an exact time that I thought that exact thing, But I could definitely see, because I mean, you're taught that at a really young age about him dying on the cross and Gethsemane and all that stuff. And so I wonder if, yeah, to some degree, even subconsciously, I was doing that because of that. That's interesting.
So you started with just hitting yourself. You started with the rubber bands. And then, so how does it evolve? Does it evolve because you stop feeling a certain kind of pain? Or like, how does that work?
It did just evolve. I don't know. I don't know if there was ever a time that I necessarily stopped. But like the self harm wasn't to the caliber of like what it became later. I feel like I definitely struggled with mental health, and like I didn't know that it was. I mean, I wasn't even diagnosed with anxiety and depression until I got to the age of 23, 22.
Were your parents aware of the self-harm at a young age? No. When
Definitely not.
when did they become aware of it?
When I was sent to a behavioral hospital.
In your 20s, right?
Yes, because I was seeing a bishop. I was talking to my bishop about it. My parents had no idea. Actually, my boyfriend at the time was awful. And his dad was a police officer, and he witnessed one of the times and did not report it,
The
which I think
dad of your boyfriend?
he like came to the house that I was living in and saw that I had been self harming, and he did not report it because he knew at the time it would have been really bad for me. So I'm grateful he didn't. He didn't report it to the police. I remember he made me go and tell my parents. He took me up to my house and had me tell my parents. And I think even then, my parents were just like, she's just doing this for attention. Like, I don't think they really believed in mental health. Because again, it wasn't really talked about. And mental health, like talking about it even is so much more than it ever was then. And so I think my parents just were not sure even how to handle it. But it kind of just got swept under the rug. And then it wasn't until I was seeing a doctor for medication. And I was on a medication that was definitely making it worse. Because
Did
I
you
had started,
ever go to therapy?
yes, it was a church therapist. And it was a dude. And I think he was a bishop at one point. He was nice, but men are just more logical. And so he was more teaching me about mental health than talking to me about ways to fix it. Like it was weird. He would like teach me more about the like science behind mental health than my mental health. It was strange, but
Like you felt like
um
you were in a psychology class?
yeah, he
Huh.
had me like just learning specifics about it. He would teach me some things. It was kind of funny. It was one of the times that I felt like I was okay to swear because he had been a bishop at one point, and I remember him saying like it's good to swear because it's a good way of releasing like negative emotions. And he's like, and I can tell you that and you're fine because I was a bishop once. And I was like, haha, that's hilarious.
I love that he's giving you the okay to
Yeah,
sin.
he's like,
Yeah.
you can do it.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So how old were you when you finally got to see a therapist?
21, 20s.
And was that over a certain amount of time?
I think I saw him for a handful of months. Like it was the very start of it because honestly, I blocked out a lot of this. So trying to like rethink of
Yeah.
everything and the timeline of it all is really hard. I had started therapy. I think I was going like every other week, and the church was paying for it because I was doing it behind my parents' back. I was on medication, so I was seeing the doctor at the same time that I was seeing the therapist. And I'd been put on Wellbutrin, which did not work for me very well at all. And it made my suicidal ideation a lot higher. Like I remember just driving in my car and praying that someone would hit me with their car just so I could die. Because I was like, I am just a burden on everyone. I am worthless. I am just causing problems for people. Like I just felt like everyone would be better off if I wasn't around. I truly believed that. And it just got more and more intense with those feelings. And then the self harm began where I was cutting myself.
What did you feel like that you were doing that was so terrible that you couldn't come back from?
What's sad is like, I had never drank, I had never done drugs, I had never had sex. I had fooled around with like boyfriends and stuff, but never to the extent of sex. And I think I just felt like I just kept failing. And I felt like I was a disappointment to my family. Like I I don't know, to me the way my family saw me was that I was the problem. Like I was the problem child, I was the black sheep. I just and it's sad because I was going to church at the time. I was, doing everything I possibly could to be a good member of the church. It was just that constant feeling of like, I'll never do enough. I'll never be enough. And I feel like that just became an internal belief for myself where, like, no matter what I did or how hard I worked at things, I couldn't amount to what the church really wanted from me.
Which was what? Because you're not having sex, you're not doing drugs, you're not drinking, right? You're not drinking coffee, you're following the word of wisdom, right? So, what is it that you thought in your mind that was so terrible that you felt as though you weren't good enough? Like, where was that coming from?
I don't even know. I think it was just an internal belief. I don't know if there was something that it wasn't necessarily like I was doing something so bad. It was just like I believed I was bad. And that came from like a really, really young age when I was struggling with different things then. I think I just really saw myself as bad. And I think when you see yourself as bad, like how do you come back from that? And I think the way that I was treated by my family, and I'm not blaming them. I never want it to seem like I'm blaming them because I mean, we're all human and make mistakes, and my parents were learning how to be parents for the first time. But I
Because you were the
really,
oldest, right? Like, that's hard.
yeah, it
I
is
mean,
hard. And being a parent myself, like I see how hard it is to be a parent, and I give my
mhm.
parents so much grace for that. But like the way that I was treated in a lot of situations did really amplify that belief in myself that I was bad. Like I felt like, I mean, I told you yesterday, like I've completed my personal progress 3 times. That's not required. It's required, not even required to finish it once. And I
A
finished it
lot of
3 times
people don't finish it once, and
because
you
I
did
felt
it
like it
3
was the
times.
one thing that I could
Well,
do.
explain what personal progress is.
It's like a what is like a
It's a
what would you even
checklist. It's a
yeah,
checklist
it's
for,
like a little
through
booklet that they
throughout
give.
young women's, and you're supposed to start as a
Yes.
beehive, and you work your way all the way through laurels, which is over a period of how many years? You think 6 years you're supposed to do this?
Yeah,
Is it
6 years.
right?
So I
So
did.
you've got 6 years to complete this booklet, and it is hours and hours of service and projects,
Yep.
right? I
Each
mean,
one is like the integrity, divine nature, individual worth. Like they have all these things that you need to be doing, little
virtue.
things to pass
Mm,
off on. Yeah,
mhm.
virtue.
Yeah, I remember. I don't have them memorized anymore, but I used to because I was always a young women's leader. But
They
yeah,
don't
it was.
even do that anymore. They
They
don't even
don't.
say the thing anymore.
Listen, this is bullshit. It really upsets me because I was upset that finally they get to wear freaking tank tops, okay, but not doing personal progress. Like, no, no, this is not okay. You don't get to do that.
Personal progress. Do they not? Maybe they don't do. They don't do like the where they say it at the very beginning, like I am a
Like chant it.
that
Yeah.
divine nature, individual worth, knowledge, choice and accountability, good works and integrity,
Yes.
and
And
virtue.
then at the end, yeah, they added virtue. I know I was in Young Women's and they like added virtue as an extra one because
I'm gonna look up and
whoever
see
was
if they
in
still
charge
do
needed
personal
to leave a
progress
legacy behind. So she decided to throw in virtue
and virtue.
and
I
virtue.
hated that one. I would say
Well,
virtue was my biggest like struggle.
but the
Oh
fact
yeah,
is that a
it
lot
was
of,
discontinued in 2019.
yeah,
Those
the
sons of
whole
bitch.
thing, the whole program.
It was discontinued, yep, and replaced by the Unified Children and Youth Program, which focuses on personal goals in spiritual, intellectual, physical, and social areas.
Either way, the fact that you went and you completed something that takes 6 years, and over those 6 years, you did that 3 times is really like makes a person unwell. That's a lot.
Well, it's religious scrupulosity, or however you say that.
Like,
Like,
did you just feel
I,
like you didn't, same thing, like you just didn't feel like you did it well enough the first time, or were
I
you
think it was
trying to
just
prove
like,
to yourself that you were good?
yes. I think it was just like, I have to prove that I'm a good member of the church. So I'm going to do more than what is asked of me. And I think a lot of it was because I really did struggle with like sexual things, what teenager doesn't.
You're talking about
And
just sexual thoughts, or what do you mean?
no, masturbation. And I mean, I definitely fooled around with my boyfriends and stuff. Again, never sex, but like
Yeah.
fooled around and had fun. And
Yeah, but I
uh,
had
I,
sex with plenty of my boyfriends in high school.
I wish I,
I never felt like I was gonna go to hell. I never felt like I was not worth anything. I never felt any sort of shame ever, like at all. Like I remember I think I was like the last of my friends to even have sex, and I remember people making fun of me because I was prude. And that was a lot of the reasons why I even just did it. I was like, fine, like stop making
fine, I'll
fun of
do it
me.
then.
Kind of, yeah. Um
Oh, yep.
but yeah, no, but
That's
I've never experienced that, but I know it's because I wasn't raised in the church. So I didn't have those types of expectations, and none of those things were discussed. I mean, I masturbated. I don't know anybody that doesn't. I mean, I've talked to all of my friends, every single one of my friends, everybody masturbates. It's just a natural thing. Nobody teaches us how. Like I was never sexually abused as a child, so it wasn't because of that. It was I've never thought of it as being anything that was bad. And even after I joined the church, I was at BYU, Idaho, masturbating in my bed at night.
shut
Like,
up. No way.
yeah, 100%. I never felt bad about it. I never felt bad. Even
Even
after I
after you
joined the,
became a member?
oh yeah, yeah. Trust me, I
What?
took my freaking earrings out before I was going to stop masturbating. That was never going to stop.
Man, the amount of guilt and just disgust I had towards my body because I enjoyed masturbating, and like to me it was seen as an addiction and as something that I should be saving for marriage. And it literally, like, I really felt like I was a gross person because I masturbated.
So you needed to save your orgasms for marriage? Is that what you were saying? Or you needed to save your masturbation until you're married?
Orgasms. I did not believe that I could masturbate even as I was, even after I got married. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't feel like that was okay unless my husband okayed it. Like, I
Really?
remember being married, yeah, and masturbating and I felt like I needed to repent and tell my husband that I had masturbated.
Did you ever get a vibrator or anything?
No, actually, nope. He got me a vibrator last February, so I've only had a vibrator for a year. He got me, it's so funny. He's probably gonna hate that I say this, but he got me 3 different kinds because he was like, I wasn't sure which one you were gonna like. So
Listen,
for Valentine's Day, he got me 3 different ones.
The man is a gem. Keep him
I
forever.
know. I
Because
was like, this is
honestly, like
great.
how yeah, like how do you there are so many different ones. I have different ones for different mood I'm in. Like
Yeah,
you've got to have a variety.
you
100%.
have to.
And you have to have a different vibrator to use during sex than you would when they are gone. And
Totally.
like it's just the way it is. Yeah. But
Yes.
how
And
do
I
you know
think,
unless you try them all? But no, I've and so Ashley Buckner, like you're friends with her, right? You know her.
yeah,
So when she was she had said that so many children truly struggle with feeling like they are not good enough. So many of these children have these suicidal thoughts and tendencies and want to die even before they're of baptism age, because once you're baptized, that's when you're finally held accountable. And
yep.
so you are not that much different than probably so many other people. You just didn't know about it at the time. I'm sure that you probably felt as though you were the only one that was struggling. You were the only one that was having this type of pain. But I can assure you, like, even my daughter, she has a lot of friends that self harm and that have gone on to commit suicide. And I just can't imagine the pressures that these young people have and they put on themselves at such a young age when they are still their brains are developing. And like, as someone that has gone through that, what type of advice could you give to somebody that is going through that? Other than saying you are enough. Like, you see all of these sweatshirts, which I appreciate, love them, but like, how does somebody really truly like how do you get them to believe that they really are enough?
Honestly, I think one of the coolest things that I've been able to see at this point in my life is all that I would have missed out on had I taken my life 10, 11, 12 years ago. And I think that's something that I would say to anyone struggling with depression, anxiety, whatever, suicidal ideation. Like, you haven't lived all of your life yet. There's so much left, and there's so much good that's going to come from the rest of your life. There's going to be good and bad, but like, I would have missed out on being a mom. I would have missed out on my kids. I would have missed out on my husband. I would have missed out on even something as simple as this, like talking on this podcast. You just, what you're feeling right now is very real. It's a real feeling, but it's not fact. It's not, you're not worthless. No one would be better off without you. You are not a burden. Those are feelings and they feel very real, but they are not facts. They are not something that you need to be acting on right now. Get help. Go to anyone that you trust and love and tell them what you're going through, because taking your life is never the answer. It's not. It's definitely not. I had a friend who took his own life back in 2020. And I think about him often because he was an incredible singer and he had so much to offer. And I just think about the past 6 years and all that he missed out on in that time. And I guarantee he regrets wherever he is, if he's out there, like he regrets taking his own life because he missed out on a lot. And I feel like that's the biggest thing is like, try and think of all the things that you would miss out on if you ended your life, because it's not worth it. And it does get better. It does. Like, I look back at that time in my life where I was depressed and felt hopeless, and it's like a different person. It's like a time in my life that I feel like it was a nightmare that I dreamt, because it doesn't feel real to me anymore. I don't feel that pain or that hopelessness anymore. I just feel joy. And like it's very real to find that. It really is. So just don't give up is what I would say.
What do you feel like was the turning point for you?
Ooh, um, so we kind of like briefly, I've said that I was in a behavioral hospital.
Yes.
Um,
Do you want to tell about what happened in that experience?
yes. So I went to the doctor because I felt like the medication he had put me on was making me worse. I was self-harming more and having more suicidal thoughts.
And this was
And
the Wellbutrin, right?
yes. And so I went
And
into his office.
did your doctor know that you were self-harming yourself?
Yes. He and
But
I when I first
beforehand.
went in, I let him know like I need to be put on this because I'm self-harming and was very open with him. And he put me on something and I was saying it was getting worse. So I can see where he was coming from. But I went into that office thinking I was going to just be put on new medication. And I remember him asking me, like, have you ever considered going to somewhere to get help? And I, like a long term stay place. And I was like, no, I don't have the time or money for that. Like, I have a job and my life. Like, I can't just do that. And he left the room and he came back and he said, okay, well, I'm pink slipping you. The cops are coming to take you to a behavioral hospital.
And so what is a pink slip? What does that
It
mean?
basically means that I am being held legally, like by the government, the law. I don't know. It's just like there's no choice basically at that point. Like I have to do whatever the doctor is saying in that moment. I could look up the exact term of what it is, but
Um, like, um, like it's like like you're being committed, like they're
yeah.
committing you. Like people, my daughter, she was a CNA, so she got to work on the fifth floor, and she was like, "It's
Oh, okay.
amazing." She's like, and she would just do one-on-one where she would just have to sit there in a room with somebody that was on a 24-hour hold that had
Okay.
been either suicidal or had tried to commit suicide. Um, or
And I
whatever it was.
think
But
that's what I was told what it was going to be was a 24-hour hold in a hospital.
okay, so you were taken to a hospital.
I think they took me to a hospital at first. I don't know. Again, I've like blocked a lot of this out because it was
Yeah.
extremely traumatic for me. I'm a
Yeah.
very like Mormon girl at this time and had never been in trouble with the law in my entire life. Like
I'm sure
even
it was like an outer body experience too.
Oh, it was. I remember calling my dad and being like, my doctor says that the cops are going to come and take me somewhere. Like, can you come down here? And I'm a 22-year-old at the time calling my dad because I was seriously just like, what is happening? So him and my mom came down to the doctor's office. And at that same time, the police are escorting me out of the building. And I'm scream crying because I'm just in complete shock and terror. Like it was terrifying. And I'm just begging my parents, don't let them take me. Don't let them take me. And they couldn't do anything by law. And I just get put in the back of a patrol vehicle and they took me to the behavioral hospital in Provo. I pass by it all the time and it is such a like trigger.
Oh, I'm sure.
um And so they take me to this hospital and I get strip searched, literally butt naked, and they search me, take all my like clothing and stuff.
What?
Um yeah, it was awful. Horrible. And then they take me into this room. Well, they took me to the like wherever the suicidal portion. It was like a drug place too, like people in there for drug rehabilitation or whatever. And the first thing that happens, am I allowed to swear on here? I just want to make
Yes.
sure.
Yep.
Okay. The first thing that happens is they take me back to this room where I'm going to be sleeping and this girl that I'm sharing my room with is screaming fuck you. just screaming it at like one of the people working there. I was so terrified. I remember just being like, I am not meant to be here. What is happening right now? And that place, I commend the workers. I'm sure like they're trying their best, but it's the worst. It is the worst. I was told that I was self-harming wrong. They were telling me like people there, other patients were like, "Oh no, you need to be cutting this way to get like more blood out. You need to like you would learn things. I learned more there than I did in the outside world about like suicide and ways to hurt myself. And anyways, the only way to get out of this place though was to fake it basically. Like you had to participate in everything. You had to make sure you're eating food. You had to do the therapy. You had to do all the like rec time that they said that you had to do. Like you had to participate, you had to be happy, then they would let you leave. And I kept telling people like, well, I'm only going to be here for 24 hours. Like it's not, I'm not going to be here very long. I was there for I think 5 days.
Wow.
It was horrible. I hated it. It was like a jail. It was like a prison. You can't close your doors. You sleep on these tiny little foam mats. It was just a really
You had to
weird.
you didn't even get a bed to sleep in?
I mean, it was a bed, but it was literally just like wood and then like a little foam mat.
They have those in RVs.
Yeah, basically what that is. Well, I told my husband about it, and he's like, pretty sure that's what they have in jails. So I was like, cool. So it was a prison.
That is ridiculous. So, I mean, did that make you distrust like professionals after that?
Oh yeah. I was just like, well, I'm just gonna hide it better now. I'm once I got out, I remember literally thinking on the drive out, I'm just gonna hide it better. I'll cut like the inside of my legs instead, or my stomach, areas that people won't see. So it just became something that like made me want to hide it better so that I could just finally get away with killing myself. It did not help my mental health by any means.
So, I feel like that is what your boyfriend's dad probably also suspected. That's why he didn't tell anybody, even though he was a police officer, because he probably also knew that it would make it worse for you than better.
Probably. I mean, I think with him, it would have been, I bet it would have ended up being an actual 24-hour hold in a hospital, not the behavioral hospital, but I don't know. It would have, I don't know. Either way, I just don't feel like there's enough with mental health to like really take care of someone who's struggling with mental health. I just don't feel like there's enough. They don't do it in the right ways, you know, like it's just not helpful unless you have thousands of dollars you can spend on it and go to like some nice place for it. But anyways, I think you had asked when I had stopped.
Yeah, like what was the turning point as far as like when did it start getting better?
So after the behavioral hospital, I ended up moving home with my parents, and my brother had, I think, just gotten home from his mission. And at the behavioral hospital, they had put me on a bunch of medication. I was on a pill for depression, anxiety, a mood stabilizer, a sleeping pill, and my birth control. And I cold turkey went off of all of them. I was like, I don't want to be on these. I'm just
Because
going to
did they
stop.
make you go on all of those things in the facility?
Yep. Except for my birth control, I'd been on that for since I was like 14. I cold turkeyed them, and then I was like, it made me crazy, obviously, which is going to happen after you get off a bunch of medication. And I was in a really dark place and just was like, I am going to end this. And I got a very sharp box cutter and
And this
sliced.
as in end your life?
I think it was just like, I don't know. I think it was at that point a way to self-soothe. That sounds
Okay.
so
So
weird, but it was just
no,
like,
no, no, no. So okay, so just so I'm understanding. So when you were like, I need this to end, you're talking about the pain, the mental pain that you were in at
yeah,
that time. So
yeah,
all of your internal thoughts, struggles, all of that pain, you wanted
yeah,
that to stop. So you were replacing it with a physical pain and you needed to
yes,
make it even worse at this point because those thoughts were getting even worse.
yes. And I think it was also just the combination of all the pills and stuff and the like, because I remember I got in a fight with my dad right before it had happened, and it was about the dumbest thing. I think it was about like food, something that we were going to eat or something like that. I just felt completely unstable at that point, which obviously I'm going to be unstable after everything that I just gone through. And yeah, just ended up slicing my arm open. It was the deepest cut I'd ever made. And I remember running into the bathroom because it kind of shocked me. Because before it had been like scissors that I would use and not super sharp objects, more like dull ones. And yeah, I had done some damage. And I remember running into the bathroom holding my arm and blood's just everywhere. And I look over and my brother is staring at me. And I remember the look on his face. It like, I don't know what it did. It woke me up or something. And I never self harmed again. I just like, I feel like the look on his face was just pure terror and confusion and sadness and just shock, probably. And it just made me realize like what I was doing to myself was affecting others too. And I just couldn't get that image out of my head. And I just never did it again.
Because you never wanted to make somebody feel like that.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a realization of like, because my brother definitely looked like he cared in that moment. And I think it was a moment of like, oh, someone does care about me. If I'm hurting myself, it's hurting them. And so I think that was huge for me because at the time I definitely felt like everyone would be better off without me. And so when I realized someone actually did care and loved me, it was I think a wake up call for me of like, okay, those feelings aren't actually real. Like people do care about me and love me.
Do you feel as though in that moment, if he would have said, like, Braadyn, I love you. Like, what are you doing? This is not okay. Like, you cannot do this to yourself. Like, do you feel like there's anything that he could have said in that moment?
Honestly, he might have said something. I really like don't remember much but the look on his face.
Because still,
He,
that you're having that outer body experience again, I'm sure.
yeah, it was a very shocking experience, I think, for both of us. That's why I'm like, I wonder if he even remembers it because I'm sure that was just incredibly painful for him to see too. If any of I don't feel like my family's very big on showing affection and love, which is totally fine. It's just, I don't know how much we felt comfortable to even say, like, hey, I love you to each other. I mean, we'll say I love you, but it's not like, it's like when we're leaving.
That's not very Mormon, is it?
I think it's just because of how my parents were raised, and that's just how they raised us. Like, their
Yeah.
parents
No,
weren't super affectionate either. So,
I can completely relate. My parents had never said I love you until they dropped me off at college my freshman year.
oh my gosh,
Yeah, no, there was never it's still awkward to
that's
say
so
I love you.
sad.
It's awkward on both ends. And so now of course my kids I'm like I'm overdoing it 100%.
That's me too. I'm like constantly telling my kids that I love them. And it's actually really funny. My daughter will do it like randomly. She'll be sitting there and she'll be like, "Mom," I'm like, "Yeah," and she's like, "I love you." I'm like,
Same. I know and just melts your heart. I love it. So do
"Yeah."
you feel like in that state there's anything that anybody could have said, anything anybody could have done that would have landed?
I think if someone had taken the time to really be like, "Your worth and my love for you isn't going to change based on anything else that you do, I think that would have meant so much to me because I really felt like love hindered on how good I was of a member of the church or how proud I could make my family or how much I was doing for the church or to be a good member of the church. And I think if someone had like kind of taken me aside and been like, "Hey, love isn't based on like church
Condition.
things. Yeah, it's not conditional." I think that would have really changed a lot for me if I truly felt it and believed it.
Yeah.
I think that's like one thing within the church that is very confusing because you're taught like, oh, God is an unconditionally loving being, but here's all these conditions, here's all these things you need to do so you can get home with him again, so you can live with him forever in the celestial kingdom. And that I think can cause a lot of disconnect, especially as a child and into adulthood, because you're taught like two things that don't really go together. If it's unconditional love, then there shouldn't be all these things that you have to do to earn that love or to be granted access to a certain place. That just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. Did you ever get to a point where you realize that if you continue living this way mentally, spiritually, that you might not survive?
I don't know. I don't think I ever considered that because I didn't think leaving the church was an option. And so I think that thought wouldn't have crossed my mind necessarily because it was like, well, you're in this, you either have to survive it or die.
And you hadn't met your husband at this point yet,
He was on his mission at this point.
but
So,
you had met him before he left on his mission, right?
yep. I met him the week before his baptism.
Okay, so let's go ahead and bring your husband in. Welcome to the pod.
Thanks.
Okay, tell me what's your Bryce?
Bryce, yeah.
So it's Bryce and Braadyn. You guys honestly could have your own show with names like that. So Bryce, you did not grow up in the Mormon church. You're a convert just like me. Congrats.
Thanks.
I don't know if that's something you should be congratulating.
It's great.
I'm
No.
just kidding.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Well,
I've never done like a podcast or really talked about anything, so sorry if I'm
okay.
a little awkward about it.
No, that's okay. I will go very easy on you.
No, go as hard as you want.
Well, you're kind of a big part of her story, part of her journey, obviously. Okay, so you did not grow up in the church. So how did you come to join the church? Just quickly, not, I mean, unless you have something that's like really good tea.
So my grandparents are LDS and my aunts and uncles. My dad technically is LDS, but it kind of stopped with him. His siblings all went to church and stuff, and he stopped when he was 18. When he became an adult, he didn't go to church or anything. So like I knew of the church, but I didn't really understand what it meant. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know like LDS versus Christian versus Protestant. So my grandparents throughout my life would give me Book of Mormons for my birthday and stuff. And I went to church here and there, but didn't really know what it was. So for me, growing up, it was just God. That's all it was.
Where did you grow up?
In Utah, Pleasant Grove, same place she did.
Okay. That's where my sister lives in PG.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah.
We love PG. It's a good
PG's
place.
great. So I never really like knew how deep it was, you know, the teachings, the difference between different churches. So I started seeking God, you know, when I was like 21, because I grew up like in a dysfunctional home and everything. So I just wanted to break away from that, and I didn't really know. I saw my grandparents and I saw people going to church, and I was like, oh, you know, maybe that could help me. You know, I started drinking when I was like 15.
Did you have friends in the church?
No.
Because they weren't allowed
So-
to be friends
So
with
my
you.
group of friends were like the only like rebellious kids in the school. So we were like the bad kids. So we all found each other. I found my best friends in second and third grade, and we all just like stuck together So when I was 21, I started going to UVU because I wanted to better myself.
So
And
now
that's,
that you were the legal drinking age and now that it was legal to drink, you decided that you're going to stop drinking now?
yeah.
That's
Yeah, that
hilarious.
makes sense. That makes sense.
You know, I knew I couldn't be doing that forever, that type of stuff. And I probably did it as an escape and everything as a kid. But so I started going to college. I got a Pell Grant. I was going to join the military, but I got a Pell Grant. So I started going to college. And that's where I started being around like normal people, I would say, just people that weren't just in like dysfunctional lives. It seemed like I was just used to chaos and dysfunction. But when I went to college, I was around people that were like going to, like studying and wanted to be different things. And I thought it was going to be like a college experience. I wasn't like quitting drinking. I just wanted to better myself. So when I went to college, I was expecting like parties and fun, and it was definitely not that in Utah. So it was kind of weird, actually. It's like I was still drinking in college, but it was like, I need to learn, I need to be better, I need to grow. And I met some LDS people there. I started like they shared stuff with me. Like I found out they saw me as a super good project. You know how LDS people do that. They see the one person like, oh, we can convert him.
Well, so were they return missionaries?
No, they were just classmates. I had 5 piercings. I had my nose pierced. I had my ears gauged, and I just asked about it, like, because I'm pretty social. Like I'm not afraid to talk to people, and they were like reading the Book of Mormon or stuff like that. And I was like, hey, my grandparents are into that. What's that all about? So they shared like, oh, it's really great. You should come to church. So I started going to church with my dad. My dad, like I said, grew up in the church. And I was like, hey, Dad, we should go back to church. Like, I want to learn about it. And he thought that was really cool. And he's like, okay. So I started going to the home ward for a few months. And then they're like, hey, why don't you go to the singles ward? And I was like, well, I don't even know what that is. So they're like, yeah, it's where the young kids are. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Because the home ward, I was like, where is it? Like, there's just a bunch of married people.
Old people.
So I started going to the home ward, or no, the singles ward. And it was like everyone I went to high school with was there. They're like, hey, Bryce, what are you doing here? I was like, I don't know. What are you guys doing here? Like, I'm trying to fix my life. And everyone that I went to school with was Mormon, I guess. I had no idea. So started going to church, and then I finally decided to quit. I was meeting with the missionaries. I went to the church for a long time and then met with the missionaries after I felt like I really wanted to progress. I didn't want to start talking to them unless I was ready to like quit drinking and stuff. So after a while, I met with them. Then it was like lots of missionaries for months and months and months and months. And then finally I decided like I need to stop like drinking, and I want to change. And then I set a baptism date, and that's when I met her, is like right before my baptism.
So what made you join the church? Was it the doctrine or was it the culture?
No, I was convinced it was real. So the culture, I saw like the families together. I didn't grow up with a mom and a dad in the house, so I just like, wow. Like when I met her, I was about to get baptized, but I liked the culture. I wanted to be a good dad, and by the time I was baptized, it was the doctrine. I was fully convinced that it was real, like that God was real, Jesus was real. Like, because that's what I talked to the missionaries about. I was like, well, who's Jesus? Like, I had zero idea. Like, I knew like the name. I've never done anything religious before, and they're like, oh yeah, he's God's son, and he came here and did this. And I looked at it like history, like, are you serious? They're like, yeah, he came down and did all this stuff, and it's proven in the Bible. Like we have the scriptures and everything. I was like, holy crap. Like, so I prayed and I did everything, and I fought my demons and I did whatever. And I was like convinced. I was like, I think this is real. Like, I think this is true. So that's why I got baptized. Cause it made my life harder getting baptized. Cause I pretty much had I had to completely shift my whole life. Like no one I knew was Mormon. My friends were all confused. Everyone was like, I was just the outcast in a way. Like I had to completely switch to new people, new activities. So it was really hard, actually.
Because you thought
I thought it was like
real.
100% real. So I was like, well, if it's real, then nothing else matters than like learning this and trying to apply it.
Well, so when you also went to the singles ward and these people that you had gone to high school with that you necessarily were not friends with in high school. So now you're in the singles ward and you're going to church. And now all of a sudden they're going to pay interest in you. Now they'll be friends with you. Now they'll hang out with you. Also, that feeling of acceptance have anything to do with it?
He doesn't really ever do anything to be accepted by other people. I don't feel
No,
like
not
that's
really.
Got it.
your
Well,
vibe.
but it definitely helped because so here's the thing
Yeah.
is like when I went to college, every like even the professors like showed interest in me. Like when they found out I was like investigating the church, it was like oh they were just like so nice to me and like treated me so well and everything. And I'm like I was convinced these people are so much smarter than me. This must be true and real because how can you be a professor in school and
Believe
be
in a lie.
tricked?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then all these people in church, very smart, like the smartest kids in my high school. Like, so I looked at them like these people are really smart and I'm dumb. So this must be real. Like,
Right.
wow, this is crazy. I'm finding all this out. So yeah, it was the acceptance, and I just trusted all these people because I just thought I was so dumb and lost.
So then you got baptized and then you
Yeah.
decided to go on a mission?
Yeah,
How did that come about?
I just thought it was real. I thought it was, and I say that personally, like if it's people watch your podcast, I'm not saying it's not real for them. I don't know what's real for me. I 100% thought it was true and real, so I did it. So I was like, well, if this, I just made this commitment, and I'm following God, and going to church more and learning more about the temple. You're like, well, this is all that matters in life is following these steps, and then getting married. And I wanted to teach it, so I was like, well, I want to help people like these people are helping me.
So did you feel like you were able to learn enough in that time to be able to go on a mission and then teach people about the church?
I think you just had faith that you
Yeah, I just had faith. It was more life experience than like Book of Mormon knowledge. I feel like I could just relate to people like me that didn't
Yeah.
have any. Yeah, so I knew I could learn, and I was really into it. Like the doctrine, the deep doctrine, I really liked learning about it because I thought it was real and true.
How was your experience when you went through the temple and received your endowments for the first time? What did you think of that? Because nobody probably was preparing you for that.
He did the live session.
Yeah, I did the live session too in Salt Lake.
My parents were there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Were you guys dating then?
Yeah, so we
Okay.
started dating like right after my baptism, like a month after.
Yeah.
So you said you had your ears pierced and everything. Did you take those out then after you joined the church? Did you have tattoos?
No, so that was a big hang up because I liked my piercings. I talked to the missionaries about it, and they're like, "You shouldn't let that stop you from getting baptized. Like that's not a reason not to get baptized, and you'll figure it out. Like you'll get like if you want to get baptized, and then figure that out after." And then she was the one that convinced me to take them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I know. Women
She
are
has-
very persuasive.
I'm so
Now
persuasive.
she has like 20 tattoos,
yeah,
and
all
I
my
have
tats,
0
and
tattoos.
piercings. Yeah,
I-
I've been trying to get him to get tattoos. He won't.
No, I know because when I joined the church, I had like 5 piercings in this year, 3 in this. I had my belly button pierced.
You took them all out, didn't you?
Well, they didn't tell me when I was investigating the church. Nobody told me any of these rules that I was going to have to change until after I was dunked in the water. And then they decide to say, hey, like, you can't wear that cross necklace anymore. You have to take out your extra piercings. You can only have one piercing. I already had a tattoo, so that was okay. Um, yeah, so what else? Yeah, my belly button, I had to take out and I had my tongue pierced. I had
Oh
my
my
tongue
God.
pierced. Oh, I was fully
Yeah, they didn't even
decorated.
tell you. I just kind of knew, I think, like
No one else
no one
had
else had anything.
piercings or
And
anything.
like I said, I studied it a lot. I looked into it, not like the history, but I knew, like I read the pamphlets and things. So I kind of was aware that, oh God, I got to do all this stuff. I was very aware that I'd have to change immensely before I joined.
I think that's probably very different from where you were versus where I was, because I was at Boise State my freshman year, and there's not really a lot of Mormons. My roommate just happened to be Mormon. Um she also got her tongue pierced with me. So that's why I had a very skewed idea of what Mormons were, because she was a naughty Mormon. And so, or Jack Mormon, whatever you want to call it. So,
Naughty
I like
Mormon.
naughty Mormon.
Yeah, naughty Mormon's better.
yeah, she was a bad Mormon. She was also having sex with her boyfriend. So I didn't realize that even like having premarital sex, any of those things were not allowed, because they don't teach you those
You
things
didn't
in.
before you got baptized?
I didn't what?
You didn't know about that
No.
stuff, marital sex or anything?
No,
Wow.
because in those they just teach you about, Joseph Smith. They teach you about just kind of like the doctrine. They don't teach you like, hey, you need to, like, we only believe in having one set of ear piercing. Oh, also, by the way, you can't wear that bikini, like, because you're not ever in an experience where you're hanging out with the missionaries in.
Yeah.
The missionaries didn't teach you couldn't have premarital sex?
No.
That's wild.
Is that even part of one of their things?
When I went on a mission, it was, yeah.
Yeah,
The
no.
law of chastity was a whole lesson, but I don't know.
No.
It changes over time, so
No, not that I can remember at all. Not that I can remember. But
Yeah, I feel
I do know that that was a thing though, because I also had, there was a Mormon kid that was above me and below me. There was just one in each grade in the town I grew up in, but the one below me was a Jack Mormon and the one above me was, straight and narrow. But like, there was a kid that literally went on his mission and he found out that his girlfriend was pregnant and he had to come back home off of his mission. So I just assumed that that was only because she was pregnant and he was going to be a dad, so he had to come home. I didn't realize that it was because he had broken the law of chastity. So there was
yeah,
so much of
Utah's
that.
so different. I can totally
Yeah.
see that. Where you were baptized somewhere else, Utah's a completely different story for them.
Utah's
And
its
I'm like,
own
and like,
thing.
and that was another thing that got me was like they're teaching all this and they're showing me pictures of the temple, like the Salt Lake Temple, and I'm like, wait, that's here. Like you've
Oh,
never seen the Salt Lake Temple, and I'm like, no. And
mm,
I've lived in 45 minutes from it my whole life.
Yeah.
wow.
So they were blown away. They're like, what? I was in my own world. I was like in the underworld, like,
Yeah.
and I see it. I see it both sides now very clearly. So now I see the culture, and I don't want to not answer your question about the temple, but
Yeah. So what was that like when you
it
went through
was
for the first
it
time?
was weird. I didn't love it, but I was at that point where I was just trusting. I was like, going back to I don't know anything. These people know everything. I mean, my grandpa's there. Her parents are there. Like people that I've known, like my grandpa, I trust him and I trust all these people around me. So I'm like, I must be the one that's so in the dark. If everyone's doing this around me and I'm not,
Yeah.
I must be missing something. So even though it was weird and I didn't really understand it, you're almost brainwashed because everyone says, "How was it?" And you're like, it's great."
Well, you're not going to say otherwise.
Yeah, you're not going to be like, "Oh, that was the worst thing ever." This is all, you feel more pressured.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I just need to go more because I really didn't understand any of that, and it was really strange.
Well, how did you feel about the hat they had you wear?
I was just so stressed about it, doing everything right. I really just blacked out from what was happening. Like it's like I don't know how to put this on. Is someone going to help me with what? I was just like looking around and stressing about doing the thing than anything else. It was like,
Yeah.
okay, like what's next? I got to get this thing out, and I don't know how do I look? You know, like
Yeah.
how do I
Well,
tie this thing up here? And yeah, so I was just stressing out. It was more like
I'm getting triggered.
I
you're
was
like,
just
well,
trying
first
to
of all,
get
you're
through
probably
it.
like, am I putting it on the right shoulder? Right? Like,
I was just thinking, like, what do you want me to do? Because
I'll do
you were
it.
no,
confused.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was more just let me get through this because this is not what I expected. But when I got out, I definitely thought this is not. I felt a little deceived for sure, but I was still so faithful that maybe I'm missing something, that I just trusted and kept going forward because I thought, like, well, I'll understand eventually. Like if I just keep
Yeah.
learning and growing and I go on a mission, like God's going to give me more enlightenment to what is even what all this is about.
Braadyn, how did you feel when you went through and received your endowments?
I remember thinking I'm in a fucking cult. I remember thinking that in my head like repeatedly, just on a loop, because it was
Yeah.
just very uncomfortable. I had a lot of anxiety and just definitely did not like it. I wish I had the balls to get up and leave, honestly.
So, did you have the same feeling that your husband did where you were like, everyone that I love is in here, they're normal? I like, did that help keep you grounded at all?
I mean, I feel like more than anything, it just made me feel like I had to trust it or I was going to disappoint everyone in there. And I didn't want to disappoint everyone.
Yeah, if you were doing that by yourself, like you just met some random strangers and were like they convinced you to do it, you'd be out.
I would leave so
You'd be like,
fast.
what are you? I'm out of here. But her whole family's there, like, and her whole
Yeah.
family is Mormon, and I love her family. Her whole family's great. So for her, it's this is what I've done forever, and these are all my family. Like I'm not just gonna leave right now. So I could see where
Yeah.
she just felt the comfort to stay. Like
I
I
wouldn't have
have to
said,
trust
I don't think
this.
I would say it was comfort though. It was more of like a shame, guilt
Judging, like
thing.
they'll judge you if you go.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I guess like my parents are here. They've been doing this. My thought was like, I never want to do this again. I hated it. Hated it so much.
I think that's interesting because you have more of a feeling that Braadyn, you do, that you should have gotten up and left more than your husband who hadn't been raised in it. And this is something that you had been dreaming about your entire life, and you had a harder time even being able to accept what was going on than he did.
I don't know why. I feel like because he made the choice to be a part of the church, it was a little different. Whereas I was just raised in it. I didn't feel like I had any choice. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was just, this is what was handed to me. And I
Right.
think it was really overwhelming at that time in the temple. It was like, this is nothing like I've ever been taught or anything. So it was confusing. And I think it definitely put me in the fight or flight or freeze, and I definitely just froze.
Yeah. I think with her, she was raised in it and pretty much forced to do it. She believed in it. She believed in God and everything, but it was more that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that surface level Utah Mormon belief where mine was, I wanted to reverse engineer the history and the possibilities, like this is all true. So, for example, I mean, they do stuff that's weird in the temple, but in the Bible and everything, there's so much weird stuff in there. If you read the Bible and you like it, that's weird. Like, there's so much weird stuff in there. So I'm like, I'm just going to trust and slowly figure it out, even though I still didn't like it and I thought it was strange. So I think that's where we differed a little bit, where I was like,
Well, it was very fresh for you too. Like it was all so new.
and I just got off a
him
mission too. Like I was fully
when I got
fully
down.
indoctrinated at that point.
Was this after the endowment or was this after your guys' sealing?
The endowment, yeah, the ceiling's not crazy bad, but the endowment's pretty weird.
It's weird.
Well, and then Braden, you also said too, is that you had a different feeling, like a different expectation walking into there because you were told that you would have this sense of feeling like you were coming home, right? Like you used that reference in a lot of your reels and you didn't really feel like that. So, like that sense of peace that you were hoping for is not what you had been promised when you went in there.
Yeah, definitely not. I felt deceived, I would say, just like Bryce had said. I feel
Yeah.
like it was definitely not. I mean, I went to temple prep classes and I had talked to people about it, but you still, like, nothing can prepare you for what goes on.
I feel
So,
like I was lucky because my husband, he knew, I think he was really worried that I would have just gotten up and walked out. I think he was really worried that that was going to happen because he knew that it was a very weird situation for him. I also had no family in there because I was the only, my sister had joined the church, but she hadn't gotten to the point where she could get her endowments. And so I think that it was a tougher situation for me because I didn't have a mom. I didn't have a dad in there. I had nobody there to support me. And so he was very naughty and told me everything that was going to happen that you're not supposed to talk about, down to, I mean, he walked me through what I was supposed to do, what shoulder I started on, would I turn it to, change to the other shoulder. Like he was very explicit on that. And so when I went through, I feel like maybe I wasn't as scared because I knew what to expect.
Yeah.
And yeah, going in blind is really tough. And I also had a really hard time because I'm like, why are they secret? Like I know they say it's not secret, it's sacred. Bullshit. But it's not. It's secret. Like why? Like why is
No one
this
would
so
do it,
secret?
I think.
yeah, because no one would do it. And if it got out, I think people would see the weirdness of it and make it, I don't know, make fun of it probably.
The biggest thing for me was the what is it, the anointings, the oil. And when I did it, you had to be naked under a sheet and then they're touching your naked body and they touch your breast, they touch your like just above your pubic bone. And so it was very like it didn't it felt violating. I didn't give consent. They didn't ask if they could touch you. They just start doing it. And it was something that I had a really hard time with that. So I'm glad that they changed that to where you're not naked anymore. But then also when everybody gets around in a circle and they're chanting those, oh God, hear the words of my mouth, and you're like lowering hands above your head, like I remember thinking like we are chanting, we are in a cult. Like what did I get myself into? Like did you have any of those feelings at all?
I definitely did. Did you?
Yeah. Before going in, I told myself if they have me get naked, I'm out.
Yeah.
I knew 100%. Like if anything happens like that, I'm out because I know it's just some crazy sex cult or something. But I obviously had my feelings definitely going through the temple. I remember thinking this isn't the church that right when you go through, everything you've ever learned changes. Because the Mormon church up until the temple was so good and wholesome, but then it turned into, oh, it's just like everything else. It's a lie.
Yeah.
Like I was lied to.
Because it does seem
It,
very deceiving when
it's
you go
very
in
deceiving.
there.
You do all your temple prep classes, like that's not even.
It's not preparing you
It
for
doesn't prepare you
anything.
for anything that you're gonna experience in there. It's all so surface level and secret. And
Yeah.
now that I'm out, I see the temple as the great and spacious building, and secret combinations. Like it's the stuff that they teach you.
Is
The
bad.
Mormon church itself made me not believe in it because I took it so serious. They teach you the talks, I listened to them, I internalized them, and I applied them to the church itself, and it's all backwards. The temple is the great and spacious building. The secret combinations, you're doing secret handshakes. You're the hypocrisy, the money, everything they teach. Like in the temple video, it's like, well, I have money. Well, I have enough for my needs. Well, the church has billions and billions and billions of dollars. So it's all the fact that I believed it so much is why I don't believe it anymore, because I thought it was completely true. And if it was true, and if the prophets' words are the words of God, then it contradicts itself and it doesn't make any sense.
It like made me more angry than anything. I think if I learn more about doctrinal stuff, it'll piss me off more, because I'll see all the like hypocrisy and all the lies, and I think those things really get to me because I did really believe, and I gave my entire 30 years of my life to it, and it makes me angry that I like lived my life based on a lie.
Do you feel as though that there's anything that could have happened or been taught to you before going into the temple that would have made it easier for you or made it feel more like that coming home kind of a feeling? Is there anything that could have been
I think
different?
the
Like if it
whole
wasn't a
entire
secret?
I think the whole entire thing would have had to been different. I think even if it wasn't a secret, even if I had been told all of the things, I still would have gone in there and been like, this is fucking weird. Like, there's no part of it that feels safe or right or true or comforting. It's not peaceful. It's just strange. And I think it would have had to not be a thing at all for me to feel any type of sense of coming home. Like, I think the temple, if it was maybe just the celestial room, maybe if you just walked into that and you got to just sit and be with God or whatever, that would have been more like, oh, this is very peaceful and comforting, and like I would have felt that sense of coming home, because that's what you want to feel with coming home. If coming home is going into your house and being freaked out of your mind, then sure, it's coming home. Like,
Yeah.
The celestial room's the best part. Like when it's over, it's the
when
best
it's
part.
over and done.
When you can just sit there and be in peace, that's probably
And
the
be
best
like,
part.
what the hell just happened?
I mean, I feel like it would have been better if I didn't have to wear all the things on top of my dress. Then I feel like maybe then I would be at peace, but I just hated having to wear the fig leaf. I don't want to wear the fig leaf. I don't want to wear the robe, the apron thing, the sash or whatever
Veil.
it is. Yeah, I don't want to wear the veil. I mean, I
All
tried
the
really
guys look
hard.
like chefs.
Yes, like I tried really hard. I mean, I went and I tied it really cute, big bow on the side, like a bonnet. I tried really hard because I promise you, like, I know fashion. If anyone can make it look good, it's me. I could not make that shit look good. Like, could not do
No
it.
one.
But when you went in there and you were like, this is not what I feel, this is weird. Like, did you think that there was something wrong with the system, the church, or did you think that there was something wrong with yourself?
I 100% turned that in on myself and thought, like, I'm just not good enough. I'm just not worthy enough. I'm just not smart enough or
Yeah.
whatever. It was definitely an internal belief, not an outward
And
one.
you had been able to recover from the self-harm, all of those feelings of all of those triggers, I guess, that had led you to self-harm and mental health. And now you're in the temple, and now all of those feelings, I'm assuming, is this how you felt, is that all of these triggers are coming back where you're feeling like I'm not good enough, there's something wrong with me. Like, were those feelings coming back to you in the temple? Because that from our conversations, it seems as though that's what was kind of the stem of what had led you to your you know your mental health crisis.
It's interesting that you say that, because my mental health did definitely tank after that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I don't know if those feelings of not being enough ever left. I know like the suicidal ideation and stuff like that had gone away for the most part. But I definitely still felt like I was not a good enough person. And so I feel like it going through the temple probably amplified those feelings more than anything. But yeah,
It got bad after.
Yeah, I felt like it definitely. I think the church has always played a huge role in how I see myself.
Yeah, she's the happiest she's ever been right now.
So Bryce, how did you see that there, because you said it got bad. So what was the decline? What did you notice from your point of view?
Her mental health went down fast after the temple. Like the first year of marriage was
Awful.
the worst. We both agree, and we're very open with each other. We can talk and everything. It was so bad. We hated it. I don't know. I think she thought it was the end all. Like once I go get married, you're taught your whole life. You're a convert like me, but your whole life when you grow up in it, you're taught, when you get married in the temple, that's the top. You've done it. And so your whole life you're striving to do it. And then you finally get there. It was, uncomfortable for her. And it was not magical. And it kind of ruined our wedding. And your wedding's supposed to be the best day of your life. Our reception was really great. It was fun. But the actual temple thing was not great. And I mean, did I even have any family in there?
No.
I don't even remember.
Maybe
my,
some uncles.
If my grandpa was alive at the time, I don't know. But yeah, for like a year, it was kind of a downward spiral because I was still very believing in I would say, analytical perspective, and she still believed on an emotional perspective. So she didn't feel good enough and was kind of rejecting it. Like she hated going to church. I remember I was like, hey, like I felt like we had to. I was like a rule follower. Hey, we got to go to church, and she'd be like, I don't want to, or she would kind of drag her feet about it, and then I would be like, I would get mad at her because I thought everything. It was the opposite for me too. Everyone told me get married in the temple, find yourself a good Mormon girl, and it's going to be this thing, and it was not that. It was she didn't want to go to church. She wasn't happy to do anything to do with the church. It was a fight to do it. So I wanted to do it because I was told to do it. And like, I've worked so hard. Like I had to change my whole life. I cut out all my friends. I stopped listening to all my favorite music. I stopped watching all the movies I grew up with. I don't talk to anybody anymore. I don't go out anymore. I mean, and the transition for her was so difficult. She'd never been around someone who had a family like mine. She's never seen a drunk person. My brother was the first person she ever saw drunk. So it all came crashing down when we were married because it was like we both felt trapped. So what I'm getting at with all this is she's going through this like crisis of dealing with my life and my family too, because she like didn't want me to be around my dad or my friends. Yeah. Because she still saw them as bad. Like, I can smell your brother's outside smoking. And so thought she was the enemy. I'm married to her. My family's the enemy. I've already tried to cut them off now. I'm married to her, and she's like, I don't want you going around your friends. I don't want, because they're probably going to be drinking and they're a bad influence. I felt just so alone.
I think the mental health thing, I think it just tanked because everything was just...
It came back.
It was
it all came back. You had that
fusion.
feeling again where you didn't feel like you were good enough because you were supposed to have this amazing experience. As a member, like you are basically told it doesn't really matter who you marry as long as they are a good Mormon person. So any two good Mormon people. All right, blamers, that's another shot of truth with no chaser. If you made it this far, I love you for it. If you're offended, it's probably because it hit home. Make sure you hit follow so you don't miss the next episode. Share this one with your friends, your ex, your therapist, whoever needs to hear it. And tag me at Blame It on Mel so I can see who's taking the blame with me. Until next time, keep it real, keep it raw, and if all else fails, just blame Mel.